Shura for UMA in DePaul, and I'm president of PSA. So as a youth leader, we always look for ways to get involved in events like this or any organizations. But we feel we're not invited. PSA, I'll give you an example, not to hurt anyone's feeling, but that's an example. We were trying to get involved with HDF, Human Development Foundation. We were very discouraged. My volunteers, they don't want to go there anymore. They were like, we don't want to work with uncles, they're not nice. So I mean, how am I supposed to encourage people to, I'm here, but other people from my board or members, they don't want to come because they feel like they're not encouraged by the older uncles and all that. So I mean, that encouragement is missing. We feel like it's very cool. And as a leader for multiple youth organizations, I'll tell you, we want to be involved in these things. We don't feel like the encouragement is there, and we're invited to these things. Second thing I was going to talk about was, as one of the speakers mentioned earlier, that we need time and money to invest in projects like this. But then, once we look around the room, everyone here is a leader. How can we really touch the mainstream, like the parents, like my parents? They're not, college graduate. How can we bring those people to these kind of events? How can we get them involved? I mean, we talk about we have solutions, we have a plan, and we know what needs to be done, but exactly how can we do it? That's my question. We never mention, we need to do advertising, but how? We need to have the meetings. This is, mashallah, such a wonderful event. I'm just surprised, why are people not here? I mean, how can we really increase the number of people who are here? How can we increase the attendance? So just how can we improve what we're doing? That's my thought.
So at least we got a representation from you. Yes, please.
I just got something to say.
Yes, no?
Assalamu alaikum. Actually, I don't really mean to speak. I had no intention of speaking today. And in fact, I never engage in conversation, particularly in a format like this, because I like to be the guy in the back and just come here for the food, get some intellectual exercise, and then kind of jet out 10 minutes before everything ends, so I can leave quickly from the parking lot. But anyways, I've heard a lot of the conversation, and I mean, there's a lot of things that were discussed, and I think one thing I could contribute that I think would be effective for everybody to kind of at least understand is there are already existing institutions, particularly in college communities. I know that you work with the PSA. I was president of the Muslim Student Association at Iowa State University. And if you're familiar with Iowa, and if you're familiar with Ames, where Iowa State belongs, Iowa State is a very conservative campus in comparison and contrast to other major universities and major campuses across the country. So it's very challenging, particularly I was president during the 9/11 situation, so it was very, very challenging to lead an organization in a climate that was already conservative, and on top of that was battered down because of 9/11. And I realized, and first of all, the experience was awful, it was horrible. But what I learned, and what was the most effective for me, was understanding that there were already existing institutions that I could have utilized, that I could have tapped into had I just known about them. There are training programs you have that already exist on campuses that that provide resources to individuals that want to get active politically. Now I know that there are several times mentioned today to develop our own institutions and to develop our own programs and to develop our own initiatives, and I fully encourage this, and I think this is something that we need to kind of focus on. But at the same time, like they said, we don't have a whole lot of time, we don't have a whole lot of money, and these institutions already exist. All we got to do is tap into them. There's a couple of them I actually want to mention because I have personal affection towards them. There's actually 3 programs that I encourage, and you all should write this down, and you all should encourage your youth to go and actively get engaged in these programs. One is Camp Wellstone. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Paul Wellstone. He was a former U.S. Senator from Minnesota. He died in an airplane accident in 2002. Phenomenal guy. That guy stood up for Muslims. That guy was a friend of the Ummah. He died, though, in 2002, and in the aftermath of his death, they constructed this really, really cool program called Camp Provides political leadership training, political skills training to young folks. And it's a phenomenal program. I've been active in politics for the past few years, and a lot of people that I've worked with have come from this program. It's called a Wellstone program. And they get an understanding of what it is to organize politically, what it is to build constituency coalitions, and what it is to communicate on a very base level with media. And it's a phenomenal program. I think it only costs $125 for a weekend, $500 for a 3 or 4 week program itself. And they go across the nation. I think they even have it here in Chicago, but it's based out of Minneapolis. The second program, very similar to Camp Wellstone, is called PIRG. It's Public Interest Research Group. It was founded by Ralph Nader back in the 70s when he was a hippie and he was all into social activism, consumer protection, and they kind of transitioned into a more nonprofit, nonpartisan effort to provide political skill set. These are two kind of overall programs that I've talked about, but I just wanted to provide specificity to something that I see kind of consistently being talked about, is we already have existing programs, and why not just tap into them? I mean, they already exist, and they already do an excellent job of providing skill sets. And I'm sure that there's programs already in existence that talk about education, that deal with all other sorts of social initiatives. But, I mean, for those individuals that have youth in colleges and high schools, I would encourage them. I mean, between their, I don't know, the SAT training or their ambition to become an engineer or doctor, talk to them about Paul Wellstone, talk to them about PIRG, tell them about these recruitment programs. Maybe they go for a weekend and realize, wow, it's actually pretty cool. It's something that I'm really interested in doing. Maybe I want to do that. And you know what? Half the people that go to these camps, this training provides them a level of intellectual curiosity that's unmatched. I mean, those folks that go to this thing have a diverse background. They're just not Muslims. They're other ethnicities that they belong to, and having that relationship not only strengthens our Muslim youth, but also the Ummah. I mean, you've got folks that are more akin to understanding what it is to be an African American, or understanding what it is to be from China, from Japan, or whatever. So that's my contribution, and so, well, I'll take it for what it is. Assalamu alaikum.